Hello everyone, skip to the timestamp if you want to get straight into the review. Thank you for all of your support in the previous video. If you haven't watched it already, I recommend doing it as this is the follow-up. I didn't expect the video to turn out so well in terms of popularity, and yet it just did. And it made me grow to like making larger video projects. I got a lot of support, as even my friends who don't associate with Undertale much found themselves really enjoying it. I was a little skeptical about actually making a part 2 since I titled the last one the complete Bonetale 1.6 review. However, it technically still holds true. I did more or less talk about everything new in the update, just that I didn't go into depth on a few things, but let me explain why I'm making a part 2. The main reason is that the original video wasn't even meant to be half an hour long, it just so happened to be 40 minutes. However, when I asked if I should push myself a bit further by adding the Chara secret, that really made the video better. So I regret not going the extra mile by really talking about everything. So I want to finish what I started in this video by beating the campaign as everyone, including the 2 stanzas in the credits, and talking more about the character creator. The other reason is that I make a big Undertale video, I get traffic from the Undertale community, I ask what content to make, and the answer is more Undertale content, yeah, go figure. Look, I have nothing against the Undertale community, just that it can be a bit funny. By the way, I enjoyed seeing so many comments, a lot of interactive ones, many of them supporting me for making the big video, others giving me really helpful tips and advice. I even saw 2 of the people who commented on the linked Secret Chara video. And then there's the one guy who told me that I should have eaten the Undyne body pillow. Thank you, Mr. Loser Man, also known as Eat Bricks. So before I continue, let me address a few things. In the secrets section of the video, I completely forgot to show this JoJo reference in which What the hell did I just witness? I also had a slight bit of misinformation on the Undyne segment saying she didn't have any changes since 1.5, but that's about it. But I absolutely need to address something. I regret how I structured the Frisk segment. I was supposed to talk briefly about the previous versions, but it ended up turning into a rant, and I barely even touched upon the gameplay in 1.6. I cut out my discussion on 1.5.2, which was the worst decision I made. All purely because I spent too much time talking about older versions when the video is targeted at 1.6. But here's the thing, I painted 1.5.1 as some kind of game killer, when in reality the rework wasn't bad, the numbers were just under-tuned, fixed in 1.5.2, and as such, the gameplay was actually a lot better. However, 1.6 had 3 changes from 1.5.2. I think that the rework was an experiment for the ranged slash, because you had access to this before the enemy did in 1.6. However, you also used to be allowed to shift to turn into Chara, then suicide into that form. 1.6 took that away. The only other changes are that the dash does special effects between each level up, but you no longer get scaling damage. Not being allowed to one-shot is what really kills it for me. Just going from Frisk to Chara is a challenge enough, but I don't blame Woloned for this. I get it, it's hard balancing your only melee character. But to say that I preferred the 1.4 Chara would be a lie, as it just proves the point that I'd rather them be overpowered with one-dimensional gameplay than to have the more fun version. 1.5.2 is what I deem almost the perfect middle ground between versions, but Frisk will always be hard to balance. I just wish the scaling damage was kept. I can't prove this, but I feel like Flowey might get reworked, not because he's overpowered, but because his gameplay consists of doing the same thing over and over, which was the problem that old Papyrus had and Frisk. That's just my theory though. Anyways, time to finish what I started, as I am going to beat the campaign as every character. I already did Sans. I hate this. Why do I have to turn down the difficulty just so I can beat the campaign? Alright, well let's get this done and over with. So beginning off with Frisk, I originally got stuck on hard level 1. Okay, you know what? Screw using the base cosmetics for visual clarity. I'll go all out on customizing. Okay, for the most part everything was fine, but just by being on this map, I couldn't see my abilities in the cooldowns, which made me swap back to the normal map. Now hard 1 absolutely sucked. Despite being on easy mode, it more or less felt the same. However, this was because I learned that medium difficulty more or less impacts your cooldowns and costs, as well as how often Chara spams abilities. Otherwise, it's basically the same, which kind of sucks, because even though said cooldowns are the only reason I'm allowed to win on easy mode, it was still challenging. The main thing about Frisk is that you suck, and you should play Chara instead. Only you can't just press shift now and you have to deal and take enough damage. This is literally the hardest part because I can't tell you how stupidly much I struggled on every level in hard mode just trying to transform. Well, except for hard 2. But once I did transform, it was stupidly easy, as all I did was spam ranged slash attacks, and if I died, well then I'll just become a slightly stronger Chara. Hard 1 took me a good while to beat. It almost felt identical to me struggling on medium difficulty settings. I really don't have a lot to say about said struggles, as it was always just dependent on if I dealt and took enough damage to transform. From there I just had to play smart. Well, sort of. Hard 2 didn't take that long to do, surprisingly. In fact, it was easier than Hard 1, and I don't really have an explanation for that. Hard 3, on the other hand, was so repetitive, and so reliant on specific factors that you think I'm doing the definition of insanity. First, I save and dodge Nightmare Chara's ranged slash attack before hitting her once, sometimes twice if I'm lucky. From there I have to pray to God that Frisk doesn't one-shot me, save, then repeatedly heal and dash, although I learned that to fill my meter more I could get hits in while I have speed boost from the healing items. Believe it or not, I actually had better luck of transforming if Frisk temporarily swapped into Chara. I can't really explain why, but it was just true. When I did turn into Chara, I'd either die because of long loading times on the star, or because I forgot whether the enemy was to the left or right of me when I saved. Also, for some reason I was permanently cursed with Nightmare Chara's warning music. Stop playing the intense music, I'm already safe. Likely because the game thinks she's supposed to appear after I load my save, since she never transformed. This was a stupidly long 20 minutes, and it was more reliant on luck rather than me learning anything. Because besides learning to slash while healing, this didn't feel like it rewarded me for learning by trial and error. It felt like gambling on RNG. In my previous video, I gave up on the campaign and just beat it in 1.4, so the game didn't shut down when I beat hard mode. Going into demonic mode, however, I actually learned something I didn't notice with any other characters since everyone else is ranged. But if you move close to Frisk at the start, you're greeted with this creepy ambience, this dark and disturbing feeling that you have to go through with this, even though you know something is off and something bad may happen. Though eventually it just starts Megalo Strike Back even when you haven't killed Frisk yet. Believe it or not, most of my deaths were either from me being stupid with my save points, or the game just taking a long time to load my save. Past that, it was literally nothing but just spam slash attacks. Lag actually worked in my favor though, and made my dash attack loop multiple times over to insta-kill the enemy, at least on my winning attempt. Though prior to that, my game crashed twice, as at one point the game tried doing the Sans Mario death screen, but it couldn't since I didn't die. Then it just froze. Another instance, I died 2 times at once and the game refused to even load my death screen. Yeah, this whole segment has been really buggy for some reason. I even equipped the Snow Slash, and it's just been the red one the whole time. Even after beating demonic mode, in all honesty, I can't say I feel satisfied. There's just something about spamming ranged slashes that feels kind of boring. Like, I feel unfulfilled. That I went through all of the trouble to transform only to sit in a corner and spam— wait a second, that's what I do at Sans. Whatever, the main reason I just don't feel happy with this playstyle is that it feels infinitely more fitting and fulfilling to one-shot your opponent when you achieve Nightmare Chara. I will admit, the dash is fun, and the ranged slash is cool, but why did you have to take away the scaling damage between phases? Poor Chara, man. Now that I've beaten the campaign with Frisk, my final verdict is that I still like 1.5.2 more. Enough said. Moving on to Papyrus. Come on man, this can't be possible to do when Chara keeps destroying my attacks and shutting off my blue soul, right? At least she does a less than easy difficulty setting, surely this can't be that bad. And sure enough, it wasn't. Picking up on Hard 3, it was still entirely possible to fight Chara the same way I fought Frisk, just that I had to bait out their ranged slash and try to get a few bones in. But despite that, Chara proved to be really challenging. I could feel the generosity of easy mode, as my cooldowns being shorter really made it more bearable. While luck was a factor, it wasn't key to winning this, as I could definitely feel my actions make a difference, or at least in this level. I barely even beat it, but it was a relief when I did. Minus the part where I didn't beat the game because god damn it, I still have demonic mode. And okay, this is the part where I learned how to properly fight Chara, right?
I am infinitely beyond you.
I don't have a whole lot to say about my run, more or less because every problem and struggle I discussed in the previous video still holds true, even in easy mode. For demonic mode, fighting phase 1 Chara is easy enough, mainly due to how short her ranged slashes are and how easy it is to do rushdown, but I cannot for the life of me even reach the third phase. Phase 2 Chara is just too strong, one-shotting me, slashing way too often for me to get damage in, and disabling my blue soul and teleporting through my attacks, and not just destroying them. I see now that beating the campaign as Papyrus is truly impossible. You win, Chara. You win. Oh yeah, and I'm sorry for your poor ears, but I found this funny sound bug by repeatedly approaching and leaving Frisk. Guys, look. They added Toriel into the game. This is insane. Oh, never mind, it's just Undyne but reskinned. Yeah, I couldn't help myself. Besides, this was not only really fun, but it looked really cool. When I ended off the last video, I said that I would have to spam green soul and just pray that Frisk dies, but I don't need to do that. My standard strategy of hit a few times, run to the end of the room, toss out some spears and green soul again still works. And while I struggled a bit at first, remember how I said Undying form was key to beating the campaign? Well, that's what happened. Literally the first round where I successfully transformed, I beat Frisk almost immediately, and with that I could move on to demonic mode. The game is generous enough to let you transform instantly. Trust me, you do not want to fight this without being in your Undying form. You'd think that this fight is just the stupidity of green souling and spamming the Z key in all directions and praying they die, and you would be correct. However, there's still a bit of depth to it. You want to be able to successfully green soul Chara, or that may be the end of your run, whether or not you get one shot. Even just getting hit once or twice by normal Chara may screw you over. Why? If you can't kill Chara fast enough, as in she blocks too many spears and your health depletes, you're back to your normal form, which is the equivalent of saying game over. But yeah, it otherwise is just green soul and spam spears. Also, I encountered Undyne's invincibility bug while doing this, at least until I used dash. I saw this in the comments, however, I didn't want to cheat the final level just to beat it. Now back onto Flowey, and thanks to the very helpful comment section, I learned that Flowey also has a bug where you can go invincible. Surely Woloned will have patched this out, he's been out for a while now. And well, either I'm performing the bug wrong, or it's mostly fixed, because I saved underground, loaded, and sure enough, I could attack, but my energy kept draining so I'd pop out eventually. Regardless of trying to perform the bug, I still intended on beating the campaign legitimately, except easy mode cuts down my EXP, which only adds to the time. The main idea is to throw out a vine, get in a ton of pellets, save, wait for my pellets to recover, load back and repeat this process. Once again, it's a simple yet satisfying playstyle, though I can't tell for sure, but I feel like Flowey might get a mini rework of some sort. Maybe just more tools in his kit. In all honesty, I can't tell if the cooldowns make that big of a difference or if I just stopped being bad at the game. Though in all fairness, I also just gave up because I wanted to play Asgore. I was intrigued by Flowey's dialogue at the start of hard mode, followed by encountering Chara. I have no excuses to make with Flowey, this character is all pure skill in terms of energy management and dodging, which is what I like. However, by being in easy difficulty, I learned how stupidly easy it is to just permanently root Frisk by spamming vines because of how long they are stuck for and how short the cooldown is. Like, look at this. Where is the counterplay? Why aren't you trying to dodge it? In all fairness, Chara will cleanse the effect, which makes sense. No, really though, being on easy mode makes me able to spam vines so much that I don't even need to use strategic saving and loading. Believe it or not, my first attempt on Hard 3 didn't really even go that bad. It felt like a fair fight, at least on their part. For me, I was probably the most annoying piece of crap ever, but even dying didn't feel unfair in any way. It was genuinely my fault for failing to dodge. Managing energy and knowing how to time your dodges is key to this. I actually got jump scared right after because I forgot Chara can just skip the dialogue herself.
Okay.
Though I think Chara got sick of my shit again because like spamming Blue Soul and Blaster with Sands, Chara disabling my vines actually provided a challenge. But even then, it was more or less a fair fight. At least because Chara was fighting back and I had to dodge. If you watch the unedited version linked in the description, I don't even blame the game or bad luck, I blame purely myself.
That was my fault.
The round where I successfully beat it came close, as if I didn't do enough damage I would have died. Entering demonic mode, my first instinct was to test something. What if I saved while Frisk was low, and then load back after they turn into Chara? Would they stay at low health? Sure enough, it actually worked. While I had a couple of mishaps, this almost felt like cheesing the level, and it was probably easier than Undyne even was. Thank you El Frilitos 5K69 for telling me that beating the game with Flowey is in fact possible, because I didn't think I would beat this. Flowey's gameplay is passable, but I have to admit, fighting Chara with Flowey is really fun. What's interesting to me is that with every other character, it's almost like you want to avoid meeting Chara at all costs, but with Flowey, just going underground to dodge the slashes was really fun, but nothing beats the silly Papyrus spinning animation. Also, saves lose their use beyond whatever cheese trick I used in demonic mode.
Ow!
Back to Asgore, who has some of the most creative attacks even if it is primarily button mashing. I have a question, what the hell am I missing? Like seriously, what am I doing wrong? How do I genuinely improve my strategy? I get a ton of hits in, I use swirly fire behind me to keep them away, I use my super attacks, and while I blamed it on luck previously, I am genuinely questioning if beating Chara is possible. I never even got past this one level I've been stuck on. Papyrus, I actually got demonic mode. But what am I supposed to do here? I really don't have much else to say about this segment, other than beating the campaign as Asgore is impossible. But despite that, Asgore is still really fun, even if I somehow can't reach demonic mode with him. But you know, I've really been changing the score. Before, Chara bested me 5-1. Now I have 4 points while Chara... Okay, fair enough. Now on to... I'm sorry, who even are you? Stalker Sans, that's who it is. Sorry, I can't keep track of that many AUs. What, you thought we were finished? No, we still have 2 more characters, plus the custom character maker. As far as I'm aware, Stalker Sans has remained completely identical to his release, at least in terms of abilities. I don't know for sure. I still remember how my playstyle goes with him, at least outside of easy mode where Frisk doesn't know what dodging is. Stalker can't use Blue Soul, he can only throw, even in bad time mode. This guy for some reason has extremely generous energy recovery, and look, I get I'm on easy mode, but still. Also, he can actually take a hit unlike Sans, even a ranged Chara slash, at least phase 1. Shifting will change the color of your attacks based on your movement, but why would you even bother with orange attacks? Blue attacks are the way to go. By holding down shift and throwing out a few blue bones and a blue blaster, then throwing Frisk, they won't try dodging and will be forced to tank damage. Why the hell are you actually trying to avoid my blue blasters? God damn it, man. Okay, maybe that's why you use blue bones and not just the blaster. But also because you don't have a large blaster either. Also, I swear, this guy's code is mixed with Asgore's somehow because I keep seeing fire effects even though I didn't enable them in the shop. Further emphasized by the fact that his bones get reskinned in the Fireballs tab. The most annoying part of playing him, besides his throws sometimes not working, is that in the current version, it's a lot harder to spam multiple abilities, so I can't actually get in a blaster sometimes. That may not make sense, but I'm sure most people who have played will understand what I mean by that. Combine that with Frisk trying to dodge the blaster regardless of color or not is really annoying to deal with. It almost made the Gaster Blasters feel redundant to use at all, to the point where I did just use only Blue Bones spam and knockback. It was incredibly annoying, especially considering I basically had to stop using an ability altogether. It led to fights taking longer than 2 minutes. You know what's even stupider? The fact that when I reached hard mode, Frisk stopped trying to dodge my blasters. What kind of logic is this? Okay, medium mode kind of sucked, even if I didn't die repeatedly, but past that, I actually really enjoy playing this character. I didn't realize Chara can do this, but she can stop herself in place during your throw with the same cleanse ability that disables Blue Soul and Flowey's Vine Root. On Hard 2, Chara reminds me that not only did I used to farm this exact level on Snowden map with this guy to relax while sick, but also that she doesn't care about my bones and will teleport through them. Not that it mattered, it was still just send out 3 or more blue bones, blue blaster, throw, recover, and repeat. You know, I love how I complain about Stalker and reworked Frisk having one-dimensional gameplay, when I spent the majority of Sans' campaign just sitting in a corner spamming an unavoidable ability until I actually had to learn a new strategy. Believe it or not, I beat Hard level 3 on my first try, but that's only because I had first-hand experience to actually know to try and dodge the ranged slashes. With Demonic mode, I figured that nothing bad would happen if Chara was never close enough to use ranged slashes. And sure enough, all was fine for the first 2 phases, my standard tactic keeping her on the other end of the room. But when phase 3 rolled around, the fight actually got intense, and I was dodging for my life while getting in any blue blasters that I could. And yet, I still beat the level on my first try. Yeah, no, medium mode sucked. Past that, he's still the same as I remember, and I really enjoy him. The only thing I've noticed is that he can throw out triple bones, and... okay, that's cool. Not much else to say, though. And now we are on to dead_guy with a capital Y at the end. If you go into the shop and hold click on Woloned... God damn it. Alright, 1.4. This guy appears in the shop, and while it is just Sans with hair, he is named dead_guy with a capital Y. I'll just refer to him as Dead Guy throughout the video. And as far as his gameplay... okay, what the hell does he even do? Why do I have 5 dashes as a basic ability? Alright, 1.5 controls. Help me out here. Alright, now I understand how to play Dead Guy. If you shift and then press Z, you create a black hole, and then you can spam X to repeatedly hit the enemy, and oh my god, this ability is awful! I wasted all of my energy just to cast it, and it tickled their health. Is this a late April Fool's joke? I am on easy mode on the easiest difficulty, and I am struggling? What the hell? You can even decrease your max power by just not getting hit during counterattack. Plus he recovers energy really slow. Oh yeah, and while he has 5 dashes on a basic ability, he can just go invulnerable with more speed. But yeah, never use W, supposedly he is meant to time stop when you shift with it, but I cannot seem to trigger it. Literally all I find myself doing with this guy is spamming counterattack and his Belveth level of dashes. But even then, it is stupidly easy to just watch Frisk die from only using counterattack. I didn't even mention that this guy can summon clones of himself. Why? Because I don't need to use them! Like, this guy has a cool creative kit, and I do nothing but spam one ability. Yes, that's my fault, but said other abilities that aren't his dashes and black hole kind of suck. And he keeps attacking Frisk on the victory screen, like, dude stop, she's already dead. I imagine this guy's gameplay is supposed to consist of him being hyper mobile and tricky for Frisk, using black holes, clones, invisibility, and his dashes to avoid her while occasionally blocking a hit to get energy back while mainly using punches. Reality is that his unique kit is overshadowed by one ability. Let's state the obvious, medium mode changes that. But even then, I have no idea how I'm supposed to play him legitimately. Even Vortex couldn't beat Hard 3. Chara's slash is too fast, and she even gave me PTSD flashbacks by flying towards me after breaking free from the black hole. Yeah, I don't know what to do about that. While this character is an absolute meme, his counterattack ability is absurdly broken. His clones and dashes can do solid damage, but for the most part this guy is a joke to me. We've played all the imported characters who isn't Disbelief Papyrus since he's disabled, or rather, I could technically go back into 1.5 to equip him and return, but I can't move. The only real reason I played everyone again was because of the update to Chara, as well as the general buffs and changes to characters. In my community posts, when I asked people who the hardest character was, the majority of them said Papyrus, and it's not hard to see why. In earlier versions, Papyrus has the least access to tools in his kit, and trying to beat medium mode can take you hours. Modern Papyrus has it a lot easier, but he lacks the means of fighting back against Chara. People voted Dead Guy more than Flowey and Asgore, but I have to wonder just how many people actually know about Dead Guy, much less played him. Conversely, people thought the easiest character was Sans, and I can't help but agree with that. Okay, so this is postscript and it's late at night at the time that I'm editing this, but I also made a poll asking what character people wanted added in next, and while the majority of people said Asriel, I saw this one funny comment that said that Toriel would just be Asgore from Walmart, and I thought that was funny. If you think playing as all the characters the game gives you is where we draw the line, absolutely not, because the character creator comes with not only the ability to make your own sprite, but your own ability set. I'll talk about the Sprite Designer first. If you've played any kind of game with a custom character designer, then I have no doubt you can familiarize with this one fairly easily. There isn't a whole lot to say about it. You've got your standard head customizations, body, legs, accessories of sorts. You can recolor things. You have Frisk and Sans as your main reference models. You can make yourself really tall, small, wide, thin, whatever suits you. You can reposition things, which is good too, because for some reason a lot of the legs spawn behind your character. You can set up to 4 slots for bad time modes, accessing the following ones primarily through rebirth. You can also make your character a walking rainbow or even float. There's a number of bugs with both this and the custom ability designer, though there's a good number of them, and many have been fixed, so I won't talk about them. But my friend has spent countless hours on this character creator, and yeah, it's really fun. It's thanks to this that I have made Viego from League of Legends, the Spy from Team Fortress 2, Wendy from Don't Starve Together,
then Gandalf the Grey, and Gandalf the White, and Monty Python, and the Holy Grail's Black Knight, and Benito Mussolini, and the Blue Meanie, and Cowboy Curtis, and John B. the Genie, Robocop, the Terminator, Captain Kirk, and Darth Vader, Lopan, Superman, every single Power Ranger, Bill S. Preston, and Theodore Logan, Spock, the Rock, Doc Ock, and Hulk Hogan.
All came out of nowhere lightning fast, and they kicked Betty Noir in her pink ass. Yeah, I went through all the trouble to make a meme that I doubt most people will even recognize. Now we also have the custom ability maker, and while you can set up multiple phases of bad time mode, if you want to beat the campaign legitimately, there's a good chance you'll only have the budget for 1 row of abilities and a couple of passives. Sure, you can go overboard beyond the EXP limit, but that just means you don't earn points for winning a game. You could increase your EXP by giving yourself debuffs like double ability cooldowns, or being unable to spare the enemy. But even then, the standard budget you have is plenty for designing an ability set and stats for even beating medium difficulty settings. Because yes, like Sans, I actually beat the game on medium mode this time around. Before I show you the strategy I used, I may as well show you everything you can do here. For offensive abilities, you have Bones, Bone Walls, Sharp Bones, Triple Sharp Bones, Cool Dude Bones, Spaghetti, Disbelief Papyrus attacks that can only be accessed if you equipped him in 1.5 and jumped back or cheated with Unlock All, a Spinning Bone, a Gaster Blaster, a Circle of Gaster Blasters, Triple Gaster Blasters, Spears, Triple Spears, Orange Spears, which I don't know why you'd want to copy 1.3 Undyne, Ground Spears, Slash, Ranged Slash, Pellets, Wall of Pellets, Dead Guy's abysmal damage ability, counterattack, black hole, clone, bone waves, fast slashes, Asgore's DNA-shaped fireballs, massive fire wave, fire slash, ring of fire, and the explosion. For defensive abilities, you have Dodge, Throw, Blue Soul, Green Soul, Teleport, Time Stop, Papyrus's Taunt ability, Heal item, Chara's ability to cleanse crowd control, which currently has no use since multiplayer isn't out unless you want a speed boost, Save Stars, Vines, Go Underground, Flowey's Laugh, Disbelief, Papyrus's Block, Dead Guy's Invulnerability, Immobilize, and Undyne's Charge. Then I have no idea what to categorize these two as, but you can bad time mode or have colored attacks. For energy passives, you have Rest, Good Rest, Restore Energy on hit, Restore Energy by taking damage, or just screw spending energy altogether. For, I'll say, bad time passives, you have Level Up, which gives Boost, Undying, and Asgore's boosted attack effect. For offensive passives, you have Karma, the ability to summon bones under an enemy after damaging them, or Gaster Blasters, or Spears, or Wingdings. There's only one Restore passive, and it's to recover health for power on death. Then there's debuffs if you want more energy or a challenge, like weakness when you have no energy, the inability to spare, or just double cooldowns. Now it goes a bit beyond that. A lot of abilities have settings with different things you can configure, like if bones jump off walls, or are randomly any color, or even explode for some reason, or how many heal items you have, how much it heals, and the speed it gives, or even the number of times you're allowed to revive. You can also customize the skins of the attacks, but I hope you have either hours to grind EXP or you hop back into earlier versions to farm cases, because this will absolutely eat up your gold. So let's get on to my run. And I'm sure you've noticed by now, but most of the time I talk about the character's abilities as an overlay to doing easy and medium mode, because the only true reason I replayed every campaign this update was the update to Chara in hard mode. It's also worth noting that almost any ability set you can think of should win easy and medium mode with no problems. I'll leave this up on screen if you want to copy it, but basically, I have blue bones that bounce off walls, ranged slashes with high knockback, vines, standard knockback, and Asgore's Fire Rain. For passives, I have no sparing, restore energy on hit, and karma. It's painfully easy to cheese the whole campaign with only Asgore's super spells, but I won't do that. I more or less just picked some of my favorite attacks. Yes, I like the ranged slash because the knockback is funny, even if I think it's boring for Chara to spam on the Frisk campaign. I'm just gonna fast forward through easy and medium difficulty because really, not much happened. Going into hard mode, I'm sure you remember how I learned that blue bones are absurdly broken, and well, I basically didn't really even use vines. In fact, I only used Fire Rain and ranged slash if the enemy was close. Otherwise, throws and blue bones made me feel like I was just playing Sans again, but I move slightly faster and have no dash. Besides a mishap on easy mode, the only death I really had was overestimating the blue bones and not realizing how close Nightmare Chara was to me. I had a similar mishap with Phase 2 on Demonic mode, then just spam knockback. Also, because I can't spare Frisk at the start, it just bounced off the wall and started slowly walking towards me, which was really creepy. I honestly wish I had more to say, though even while on medium mode, I didn't really struggle much since I basically replicated my Sans experience. Well, now that we beat the game as every character, I'm going to briefly rank everyone in terms of how fun they are, as well as how fitting their abilities and gameplay are. For that matter, I'm automatically putting Papyrus in S tier, no questions asked. For Sans, I'm putting him in A tier only because I never find myself using normal bones. Otherwise, I find myself using every other ability and he's really fun. With Frisk, I'm going to admit to personal bias here, because their gameplay is a lot more fitting now. But I still think you should be allowed to one-shot with Nightmare Chara. Plus the process of trying to transform in hard mode can be a pain at times, so C tier. For Flowey, I'm only going to put him in A tier because I never really use his save stars or his laugh when I'm in easy mode. For Undyne, as silly as it looks spinning in every direction while spamming Z, I still think Undyne is also perfect, so S tier. For Asgore, I will also put him in S tier even if you can't beat the game with him, Or maybe you can, and I am just bad. For Stalker, I'll put him in B tier since I never use orange or normal attacks, otherwise I like his gameplay. For Dead Guy, I'm putting him in D tier because he feels god-awful to try playing naturally rather than just spamming counterattack. And why not? Custom character goes into S for how creative you can get. Anyways, let me just quickly mention a giant list of bugs and issues with this update. I don't blame the developers for releasing this in a seemingly unfinished state. It had been a long time since 1.5.2, but they have the next few patches to hammer things out. I'm just going to list all of these without elaborating, because there's a bunch of them. The Peridot sprite is inaccessible in the credits. Both controls and cases are inaccessible. Papyrus' unlock condition is impossible. Beating the campaign as Papyrus is impossible. The Waterfall 1 map will not unlock half the time despite telling you unlocked it. The Ruins 1 map can only be unlocked by Undyne. The True Labs unlock condition isn't translated. The Barrier map is unnamed while the Golden Hallway is named Barrier. Flowey can save while dead. You can play as Disbelief Papyrus by selecting him in an earlier version then coming back, but you can't move. Frisk will continue to attack Undyne while she converts determination into health. The enemy's soul will shatter multiple times over while the screen keeps scrolling. Undyne can become invincible. Okay, I know I'll be ridiculed for saying that if the developers somehow watch this and patch that out. Undyne's green soul cancels Chara's ranged slash, but it still plays the audio. Trying to unlock Monster Kid will make your life hell. The demonic mode button doesn't highlight yellow. Megalo Strike Back will play multiple times by repeatedly going near Frisk in demonic mode. Chara's health may not display properly on demonic mode as Frisk. Sometimes your ability icons will disappear. Frisk's body sometimes disappears after resetting from dying to Nightmare Chara. Save stars can cause freezing sometimes. Dead Guy will keep attacking Frisk after defeating them. Flowey's dialogue will go outside the box if it's too long. Chara delays death when transforming while taking too much damage. Flowey sometimes attacks during dialogue and soft blocks you. Okay, I know this one is a bug and all, but imagine if they removed the soft block and made it a feature. The list goes on, but most of this stuff has just been a minor inconvenience rather than an actual problem. Besides, I'm sure most of this will be fixed soon. Actually, while I was editing the video, Woloned has released several hotfixes within just a few weeks, all while being heavily underpaid and near starving. What a Chad. You can even pay him in Russian rubles and he will make your own requested attack, skin, or character. However, I have no idea what to do with this knowledge because I use the US dollar. I should actually talk about these hotfixes though. There's been 8 of them, and I've spent the entire video playing on the base and buggy version. Regardless of bug fixes, there's even been balance changes. Like Sans can only use a giant Gaster Blaster if he fully charges it, while Bad Time Mode makes a ring of them if spammed. Or how Dead Guy now gains energy when he lands an attack. And even Flowey can now attack while laughing. Okay, most of the bugs and problems I had, Woloned has fixed by now. He even changed the unlock condition for Papyrus. No, seriously, I could talk about every bug and problem and tell you just how many of them Woloned has fixed. Because to say that this is the finished 1.6 review would imply the review of the base launch. But I guarantee you a lot of the things I experienced and said would change if I played the current version. However, there's one post that absolutely scares me, and in it he says, "I will pray that I have the time to fully complete Bonetale by the end of the year, because I really want to start making my own game." This otherwise implies the end of updates and no future characters. Further emphasized when you look at the shop in 1.4 and see all the characters state that they'll be playable in the future, then look at the shop in 1.6. Even the meme Metaton Neo got his "will be playable in the future" removed, but hopefully I am wrong and he makes future updates after his planned game. I'm not actually sure how to end the video off. I was also going to record me trying to do every mission, but I think I'll pass. So with that, I think I'm just going to call it here and...
Fall. You are alone, child. There is only darkness for you, and only death for your people. You are strong, child. But I am beyond strength. I am the end. And I have come for you.
Oh. You. Alright, I've seen people claim to have beaten the campaign with everyone, in which, fair enough. Just because I say beating the game with Papyrus and Asgore is impossible doesn't mean it is. But what you can't explain is how the hell you beat this thing. bro, it's so easy. I beat it first try. No, you didn't. Now, I talked to Woloned himself about this. He even forgot about it and removed it due to bugs. And while he didn't have plans to add it back, he knew he should. And while I can't imagine what will happen when it is back, all I can do is pray to God that maybe I can defeat it in an earlier version. Last time, I learned that trying to blue soul Chara was redundant as it moved her 1 inch. But what if I turned on endless bad time and 0 cooldown and just spam knockback?
Fighting up close is a bad hobby, foe.
Yeah, that worked about as well as I thought it would. All it did was delay her slightly. The thing about 1.5 is that the icon is fixed, but the sprite is missing, at least for now. Now, someone gave me the idea of just staying underground as Flowey to be invulnerable while using vines to keep them off of me. I thought that this was a genius idea. What? Wait, but... Okay, apparently she doesn't give a shit if I'm underground.
I don't care!
And of course my vines do nothing to her. I was going to try Dead Guy, but not only does its time stop take forever to charge up, but I'm pretty sure Chara would either ignore my black hole or kill me while I'm invisible. That, and also the fact that I never unlocked Bard 3 as Dead Guy, so I couldn't do it if I wanted to. Here's the thing though. I figured that anything I tried in 1.5 would be even more useless in 1.6 with a character maker, since either Chara would be stronger, or said methods in the character creator would be identical. You're not allowed to one-shot in 1.6 either. I don't care if you tell me to use Asgore Fireball spam. If I can't find at least one way to stall to survive, then by no means can I fight back. So my last hope was Frisk. Why? Simple. Save stars. Unlike 1.6, Frisk scales damage between phases, and with Nightmare Chara, I can one-shot. Well, sort of. So theoretically, I could spam save stars to revive non-stop in hopes of fighting back. And well, here's what happened. Jesus Christ! Huh? No. Okay, so I don't know what kind of bug occurred, but I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to spawn on the left of her. Past that, I did see the health bar tick down when I hit her as phase 1 Chara. I keep rewatching the final clip, and I swear to God, I did not kill her. But apparently I did. It's entirely possible that they turned back into Frisk last second and I one-shot them, but I doubt that. And what happens after you defeat this secret Chara? Does Bonetale turn into a horror game? Do you unlock this form for playable Frisk? Do you get a secret skin? The answer is nothing.
And in my universe, this I achieved. But it gave me no satisfaction. In succeeding, I lost all purpose.
I'm honestly not surprised. Now okay, I genuinely thought Woloned would have made even reworked Frisk impossible by making Chara destroy the save star or just kill me without me even reviving, or even just making them not take any damage. So I have this scrapped segment talking about why Undyne wouldn't work and by extent anything in the custom character creator even if I opted into 1.6. The only thing I will say is that if I did play Papyrus against this Chara, what the f is Papyrus supposed to do? I think there's a problem when the developer himself tells me I'm not supposed to beat it. He said she! Woloned said she! Suck it, I'm removing the disclaimer. No, not really. You know what's funny? This whole time I've painted the connection between me and Chara as some kind of rivalry, when in reality, I love this character and I have a personal bias against depictions of her as the evil genocider. But with Bonetale, I'm just having fun. But it's time I reveal a little secret I've had going on in the background. I shook hands with the Pumpkin Man. What do I mean by that? Well, by having talked to Woloned personally, even just to learn about the secret Chara form, I struck a deal with him, and well, Grim from Hollow Knight will be a playable character in Bonetale. What I like even more about this is that not only was the knight already a skin in the credits, but after I requested this to him, he actually took an interest in Hollow Knight. even making a 2D map on the city storeroom stag stations in one of his posts. This guy is great. And from what I can tell you, in recent posts, Woloned has been making what seems like a mini version of Undertale Genocide in a free roam map where walking to the end of the room teleports you into the next one. Which funnily enough, my friend said he wanted as a feature in my podcast with him. I'm excited for 1.6.1, though chances are it won't be as long since this update had an addition that made me redo every campaign. But until then, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. You know, if I had a nickel for every time a pumpkin-headed profile picture guy that spoke 2 languages made an incredible Undertale alternate universe, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't much, but it's weird that it happened twice.